Firstly, I want to agree and concur with the previous speakers. And I suppose I want to start by saying today we will have a very important piece of legislation. We will have the Residential Tenancies and Valuation Bill. And let's hope that we don't have a reoccurrence of what happened in the lower house yesterday. And I'd appeal to all Democrats to support open, healthy discussion. We have a job here, of course, as a revising chamber, to revise legislation, to look at all amendments, to give them serious consideration. And remember, it wasn't too long ago that half the government were on opposite sides of the benches when this in the Dáil, hurling all sorts of political accusations against one another for their failures in housing, their failures in the healthcare sector, their failures for the people with disabilities, and I could go on with a raft of things. So don't forget where you came from. And you're in government for the moment. But who's to say in 6 months' time you'll be back on the hustings arguing some other different story? So I just think it's important to respect both the government, of which I respect, and you have a democratic mandate, but we too on this side of the House have a mandate, and we should be facilitated with the scrutiny of our legislation. It was the last Taoiseach and now Taoiseach who came to this House and stressed the importance of this chamber, the Seanad chamber, of being the revising chamber of the House, and I think that's important. So I think it's important, as we wind down for our summer recess, we look at a few things. We've had a hectic time, both as politicians but as people and citizens in this country. We've had a general election, we've had a Seanad election. We've had a major crisis in healthcare and it hasn't gone away. We have a crisis in housing. We have an economy that's flat on the ground and needs help. We have Brexit coming ahead of us. We have the COVID pandemic and the forced essential services that were closed. And think of all the people whose services were closed. Think of the disabled people. Think of the people that were locked in their homes. Think of the people that couldn't say goodbye to their husbands, partners and loved ones because of COVID. That isn't your problem. That wasn't our cause, should I say, or anyone's cause. But these are tough, harsh times, and I have no doubt they're going to get harder forward. I want to take this opportunity to pay tribute particularly to Leo Varadkar, who led the outgoing government, for his steady, sure hand in relation to COVID. Because that has to be acknowledged. He was professional and he was steady, and all the people involved. I want to also acknowledge the work of Fianna Fáil in terms of the confidence and supply that made all that happen. So we saw good cooperation, so cooperation is a key issue here. I want to thank above all else the community call, the people in every one of the 31 local authorities that enlisted the volunteers. I think that was important. And finally, I want to thank the Oireachtas team. I want to thank Martin and Bridget and their team. I want to thank the ushers and the caterers and all the attendants and all the people that make this House, the family of the Oireachtas, work as well as it works. And I want to thank them because I think that's important. So finally, my plea as I leave here for the summer recess. Members, can we respect each other in this Parliament? Can we support one another in this Parliament? Can we give legitimacy to criticism and scrutiny of legislation? And can we pledge and go away and think about this over the summer, that we will not facilitate or acquiesce with the guillotine of legislation or the ramming through of every stage of a bill in one day? That's not good for democracy, and it's something that we shouldn't do for the people of this country. So let's think about that, go away and come back with vigour and commitment that we won't acquiesce to that type of abuse in the democratic process.